Hello and welcome to my video today. I got a new product in from Lectron. I've reviewed other products from them over the last several years, and they're a quality manufacturer of EV charging products. So let's open it up and check it out. All right, here's a close-up of the box. Lectron Portable Level 1 and Level 2. It's a 12 to 40 amp EV charger compatible with all J1772 EVSE. It's compatible with the NEMA 515 for 120 volts or the NEMA 1450 for 240 volts. And it has the J1772 handle. You could also use this with Tesla vehicles if you use the Tesla J1772 to Tesla adapter. Let's look at the rest of the box. Flexible level 1 and 2 charging, 2 NEMA plugs included, 16-foot cable, streamlined LED display. Rated power is 1.44 kilowatts or 9.6 kilowatts. Rated current 12 amp to 40 amp. Input output power 120 volt AC 12 amp, 208 to 240 volt AC 40 amp. Plug type, as I mentioned, has the NEMA 515 and 1450, J1772. It has UL 2231 and UL 2594 certifications. It has a waterproof rating of ICPD, the control box, Type 4X, and the charge coupler is a Type 3R. Operating temperature is negative 22F to positive 122F or negative 30C to positive 50C. Dimensions are 10.1 by 3.8 by 2.5 or 256 by 97 by 63 millimeters. Weight's 9.3 pounds or 4.2 kilograms. And the housing material is made from polycarbonate. Inside the box we have the charger and the coupler, both of the plugs, a screw set, and a mounting plate. There's also a QR code for contacting the company. And the other side has the same thing. All right, so let's open it up. Break the seal. Inside the box, we have a travel container here, or travel bag, or travel case. Yeah, it's kind of a semi-hard case that you can put the EVSE inside. Let's move the box out of the way. Here's a close-up of the storage case. We have 2 zippers, and I am going to open it up. Inside, we have some paperwork. We have the extended warranty card, so probably a good idea to register that since you get up to 3 additional years of warranty, which is really nice. Then we have the user manual, the normal type of stuff, instructions, overview, status indicator, mounting, charging, troubleshooting, and specs. So you can review that. All right, let's take a closer look at the items inside. We have some mounting screws and anchors. We have a Velcro tabs here to keep it inside the case. Here are the 2 plugs that will attach to the wall. This is the NEMA 515. And this is where it connects into the EVSE. And then we have the NEMA 1450 with a big chunky cable. We have a wall mount. And then you'll use these screws to attach this to the wall. Let me take this off of the handle. So here's the unit itself. with the attached 16-foot cord. Let's have a closer look at the handle. We have a metal button here and the metal clasp. So that definitely looks heavy duty. Here's a view of the J1772 connector, and it has a rubber protective cover, so it keeps it clean. We have a couple of Velcro straps to keep this organized, so I'm going to remove those. And here is the EVSE itself. We have a little protective plastic on the cover here. I'm going to remove that. We have a QR code right here. And on the back, we have a whole bunch of information. This is very handy to have because if you don't have the manual, you can always decipher the LED lights using this chart right here. So if you want to charge this with 120 volts, you need to take the plug and then match it up with the top here, and we're going to insert that in. Should click into position. There we go. And then we could plug that into any normal household outlet. That is a NEMA 515, which 15 amps. Let's take this out again. It is fairly snug. Now we'll insert the 240 volt connector. That one also snaps into place. And you can see it's got a fairly lengthy pigtail to get to the NEMA 1450 right there. So the great thing about this kit is that you get both level 1 and level 2 charging with one EVSE, and you can swap the connectors as you see fit. So this makes it a perfect travel EVSE for charging your car on the road. So if you happen to find a regular outlet and get approval to use it, you can use this one. Or if you have the ability to use the NEMA 1450 outlet, you can connect that too. I also suggest throwing in some other adapters, such as a NEMA 1430 and or other NEMA outlets, so you can connect to a variety of outlets that you may find when you're traveling. Now I'm going to unroll the cable and do some measurements on it. Starting at the bottom of the EVSE, where the cable connects to it, if we go all the way along the length of it, we reach 16 feet, 6.5 inches, or 5.04 meters. So it's actually a little bit longer than the spec. Now for the length of the pigtail connector, I'm going to place it on the measuring tape here, and it is just under 14 inches, or 13.875 inches, which is about 35 centimeters. The 120 volt version is just slightly longer at 14 inches, or 36 centimeters. Now let's take a look at the width of the cable, getting 0.38 inches, or 9.8 millimeters. And now for the 240 volt cable, we're getting 0.82 inches, or 20.9 millimeters. So you could easily use this charger mounted on the wall as a permanent charger for your vehicle. You could put the mount in the location that you'd like it to be fixed, and then just put the several screws into, most likely the best thing is to have the studs or drywall with studs behind it for supporting the weight of the EVSE. And then you could place it in like this position. So you're going to have to make sure you have an outlet that's close enough that this plug can go into. And this is what it would look like when you remove it if you need to use it while on the go. So now we can take the EVSE and plug it in. One thing of note is for the 120 volt outlet, make sure this is the only thing that's plugged into the circuit, because you may run into amp issues if you go too high. So I'm going to plug this in right here, and then I'll be able to use it. You can see it starts glowing, and this is your communication LED to let you know the status. If you look on the back, it shows that blue means powered but not connected to the vehicle. So let's test this out on some of my EVs. So we have our EVSE plugged into the wall here, and I took the cable and brought it all the way around to the front right of the car where the charging port is. So let me open that up. And then I just take the handle, remove the protective cover, and insert it into the J1772 port. And here's a closer look. The charge port LED is green, which means it's charging. I am getting roughly 0.7 kilowatts on the car's input here. Let's go around and look at the charging. Here's a close-up look at the EVSE, and we can see that it has the LED green moving up in this motion, so it's indicating that it's charging. So according to the manual, there are two charging modes, 12 amps and 40 amps. So if you're on the 120 volt outlet like I am, it's going to default to 12 amps. There's no way to adjust this. You could adjust it in the vehicle. However, the EVSE defaults to 12 when you're doing level 1 charging. The same thing for level 2, when you're charging at 240 volts, it will default to 40 amps. Now, if your car can take more than 40 amps, it's going to be limited to 40 amps. If your car takes less than 40 amps, for example, the Fisker Ocean is 32 amps. For L2, it will max out at 32. When you're done charging, press down on the button here. You'll hear it disconnect. Then you can remove it from the charge port. At this point, I'm going to remove the 120 volt plug and then insert the 240. Then I will take the NEMA 1450 plug and insert it into the outlet. It's always good to have some sort of support underneath if you use the mount or if you use some other method of keeping it so that there's no tension on the pigtail. Now I'm going to turn it on, and you'll see the LED light flashing blue, means we're ready. And now we'll go to the car. Open up the charge port, and we'll do the same thing. We'll insert the handle. Let's take a quick look here. We can see that it is showing charging, and notice the motion of the LED is faster now that we're on 240 volts versus the 120 volts. So that's an interesting little thing. And then let's go inside the car. We can see that we have 3.2 or so kilowatts going in. What I'm going to do is adjust the car so it's taking the max amount. So when you're maxing out, I'm seeing around 6.1 kilowatts, which for this car is 32 amps. And when we're done charging, we just press down on the button and then we pull it out. And just like before, we can stow the cable. And if this is your permanent connection on the wall, you can just leave it as is. And if you're traveling, you would just take it and roll up the cable and put it in the storage case. So here's an example of the EVSE with a permanent mounting on the wall, and the cord can be wrapped and then hung up right next to it. I've now moved my Tesla Model 3 into the garage, and I'm now gonna do the same thing. I have the cable right here. I have it plugged into the 240 volt outlet. Let's open the charge port up. And if you notice, this will not work as is. You need to have an adapter. So you need to have, every Tesla comes with these. It's a J1772 to Tesla adapter. You just insert it like that, and then you can put it in the car. And as we can see, the green LED is moving or pulsing upwards on the EVSE. Let's go inside and take a look at the charging. All right, I am showing 32 amps, and I think that's from my previous EVSE I was testing. Let's max it out at 40, since that's as much as this EVSE can handle. And let's see, it's showing now 37 miles per hour charging, 40 amps, 238 volts. If I click on the percent, I'll change it, and now it's showing 10 kilowatts. So everything's looking good as far as charging is going. When we're done charging, all right, so if you shut it off from inside the car, this will be unlocked, and then you can pull it out from the charge port. I can just hang it up on the wall and I'm all done. Let's now look at the 120 volt setup. So as you can see, I have it plugged into the 120 volt outlet like I did before, and the EVSE is showing blue. Let's go back to the charge port. I'm going to plug it in. And it is charging. Let's go inside the car and check it out. I think I had the default charging on 120 volts to 8 amps. So let's see what that's looking like right now. It's providing 3 miles per hour, which is 1 kilowatt, 8 out of 12 amps, 121 volts. Let's increase that to the max. So 12 is what this will support. And now we see it's probably somewhere around 1.5 kilowatts on the full 12 amps, 119 volts. And then if you're looking at miles, that's 4 miles per hour charging. So yep, so everything looks good as far as charging inside the Tesla. Oh, I want to mention, if you want to stop charging, there's a button right here that you can press, or you can press the button on the handle itself. And then I can just pull it out like this, or just pull out the plug separately. So when you're done charging, just wrap up the cable with the included Velcro straps and place the EVSE inside with the plug. There's also a nice little area here where you can put both of the charging plugs right there. And then when you're done, just fold this over. Oh, before we do that, there's also these Velcro straps right here to keep everything inside. So I can put this on here and this on here, and then I can close the case and zip it up. It's fairly compact. All right, that about does it for the unboxing and checking out of this EVSE from Lectron. It's very interesting in that it supports both L1 and L2 charging. It includes the 120 volt NEMA 515 as well as the 240 volt NEMA 1450. So this should give you lots of opportunities to charge if you have L1 or L2 outlets available. I also suggest getting some adapters while you're on the road, just in case you see some outlets that aren't supported by these two. The only negative that I noticed in this is the length of 16 feet. I prefer to have 20 to 24 foot cables for charging, but considering this is meant for travel charging, I can give it a break on that. 16 feet should be good enough for that. As well as using it with my Tesla and my Fisker, it seems to charge just fine on both 120 and 240 volts, so nothing unexpected. Another nice thing about this unit is it has just a single LED on the front to indicate if it's working and charging. Pretty easy to use. There's no settings to mess with. Any amp changes you would do inside the vehicle. So if you want to have lower amps, you can set it for lower, or higher amps, set it for higher. However, this will output the full 12 amps from L1 charging and a full 40 amps for L2 charging. And that's about as much as you can expect out of a outlet. For example, the max of a 1450 outlet is about 40 amps. To get any higher, you'd need a direct wired setup. Well, if you're interested in this item, I have the link in the video description. Lectron sells lots of different chargers and adapters for EVs, so check them out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.